for today's experiment, we're going to take a look at melting point. Okay, so most of us are familiar with melting point of ice, right? Water is going to start freezing into ice at 0 degrees Celsius at sea level, and then vice versa. It's also going to start melting at 0. So that's where we tend to get that slush, right? So some is turning into solid, some is freezing to solid and melting to liquid. Okay, so let's take a look at some other substances, namely plastic. This is a little Mario guy made out of little plastic perler beads. Okay, so let's compare them with the room temperature. Not melting, right? It's about plus 22 in here. Okay, same thing with our crayon. Okay, crayon melting point has to be higher than 22. Okay, and they're also not melting in my hand. So that means their melting point is higher than 37, because humans' body temperature is 37 degrees. Okay, next we have chocolate from our friend the Easter Bunny. Thank you very much for donating your ears to science today. Okay, and at room temperature, it does not melt. But I find if I do leave it in my hand, especially if I'm feeling a bit warm, it does start to melt. So we would say that the melting point of chocolate would be at about 37, maybe even a little bit higher. Okay. And what was my third thing? Oh yeah, then ice cubes. Okay, clearly they're going to be melting in your hand. Okay. So the purpose of having this hot water bath here is just to see if I can get some of these substances to melt in water. So I've put a thermometer in there, and it should read, let's read it in Celsius. There we go. Okay, and it's showing 75 degrees Celsius, so it's not quite boiling, but starting to, because we are in Calgary, which is quite a bit above sea level, so it takes less air pressure. It takes less energy for us to boil water than it would at sea level. Okay, and I've made these little boats for my crayon, the perler beads, and the chocolate. Okay, so let's let them float around in here and see what happens. Okay, we'll take a measurement when we see things start to melt. Okay, I'll bring you up for a look. Okay, so right now our little boats are floating away. I'll take some pictures for the temperatures when they start to melt.